lovelies, Rotting Jared Fox here. I'm gonna start another new What If, and will be kind of a stand-in in front of you. So this picture will be a stand-in until I either find a good photo or I draw something up. And the thing is, when I mean kinda a stand-in, basically, this is kind of deku. So I'm gonna just say this right now. If you do not like violence or any type, in this case, a lot of harm to the person that is gonna be the main character, aka as Izuku Midoriya, I suggest you click off the video now, and I'm gonna explain more in the description. So please read the description first before watching the video. Okay, so basically, I can't say this correctly without sounding very rude. You know what? I'm gonna start with the day when Izuku was born. When Izuku was born, he was born into a middle-class family that was slowly depleting into poverty because of their father's company going bankrupt. And slowly going in. Oh shit. Okay, so basically Deku is born into this family, which is the Midoriya family. And him and his father and mother are struggling to keep the family going. Since Inko and Hisashi were forced to get married, but they actually do like each other, but they're forced to get married by their both rich families. Yeah, Inko and Hisashi were very rich, but not spoiled. But soon after Hisashi's family got bankrupt, Inko's family abandoned their daughter, and Hisashi's family left them to rot, leaving Hisashi and Inko by themselves to raise a child of their own, aka as Izuku Midoriya. In this world there is quirks, but when Izuku was born, he was born with patch marks all over his body, some on his ankle.
Basically, I messed this part up. Deku kind of looks like in the picture he has markings on his legs, calves, chest, and back. In this case, I'm gonna explain Deku's quirk and more about it. So basically, Deku has the quirk called Animal. And you guys might say, oh, this is Beast Boy. Kind of. Basically, Beast Boy could shapeshift into any animal except for mythical animals. Deku could only shapeshift into the animals I'm gonna say. He could only shapeshift into a lion, a cheetah, an otter, a ferret, and a wolf, a bunny, and a goat. Basically, that's the only animals that Deku could shapeshift in. They basically represent bravery, speed, ocean, mountain, or kindness.
Izuku Midoriya was born with the quirk called Animal. Basically allows him to shapeshift into any animal of his choosing.
Sorry about that, guys. That was not supposed to be in the recording. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot to mention the backdraw. So basically, the backdraw of Deku's quirk mainly revolves around his body. If Deku overworks himself mentally, his body is kind of like porcelain. If you do not know what porcelain is, it's a very fragile substance that's kind of like plastic, but it's also like glass. It could easily be painted on to make it look like basically like old-fashioned dolls. But if you drop it, the porcelain breaks to the point where it's kind of unfixable. Basically, if Deku overworks himself mentally, he gets cracks all over his body. But if he gets hit by an attack, like either an explosion from Katsuki or a physical attack, like from Dark Shadow, it does not hurt him. It just makes him have it looks like he has like a scratch mark, but it doesn't.
His family is working to the bone to keep living into this house, but since they were not able to put up the regiment of the bill, they were evicted from their home and they moved into a
2-bedroom apartment.
The thing is, Katsuki is like kind of being rude to Deku because Deku has a quirk that basically makes him
Skipping a few years.
shapeshift his body into an animal that represents bravery, kindness, or speed, or something that represents water.
Okay.
So basically, the lion. So basically, Deku does know the weight of his shoulders, and knows that Deku basically feels like he is a burden to his mother and father right now because of him causing problems since they have to have another mouth to feed. But it's not Deku's fault. It's kind of the family of Inko and Hasashi because they basically abandoned them after Hasashi went bankrupt. And Hasashi was like beginning to be in the rich area, but not to the point where they're like to Momo, Rosu. No, they're like under a second family, and that family is gonna be very important since that's gonna shape.
That family is gonna be important because that's gonna shape Deku and another family that I forgot to mention in this recording.
When Deku is in his teenage years, basically 13
to 15 before he gets into UA, that's when he's 16. Deku is like kind of the second popular student in the school because how interesting his quirk is and how fluffy he could get with how his quirk works. And the thing is, Deku does work out. He kind of looks like Ezreal in the photo. I'm going to show it on the screen right now. Basically, Deku kind of looks like this. Let's get back into the recording.
Or when he was a preteen, when he was 9 to 11, 9 to 12, Deku decided to help his family by babysitting. Deku babysit random families, and they do pay a lot. But when he was told that he was going to babysit the second richest family in the world, that was going to be a big load on Deku. And the thing is, this family does have butlers and maids. Excuse me. Basically, Deku and his family Deku, Inko, and Hasashi are like putting up ends meet. They are getting a bit more money since Deku is helping out in any way he can, which is very good. But his parents tell him not to overwork himself to the point where he's breaking his mentally. He has a lot of stress on his body because he feels like he is a burden on his parents. But he wants to help out in any way he can, and his parents do remind him, take a break. Sorry if I'm saying on one page. Basically, in this case, Deku does have to worry about school life, his normal life, and babysitting. And that's a lot of work on one person. And you guys say, oh, that's not a lot. But in this case, Deku is babysitting families, a large family. Sometimes it's 5 kids he has to take care of, sometimes it's 4, or sometimes they have normal kids and some adopted kids, and some that are children that have a disability. And Deku loves and cares for them all the same. He cares because he has a massive heart, as his parents put it. Sorry. But when he was told that he was going to the second richest family in the world to babysit their 4 children, sorry if you hear barking. Deku was a bit nervous because this was kind of a large place, and he does pack up some necessary items to help babysit children. And the thing is, Deku feels like he's gonna go babysit a child maybe, and the parents won't be that bad because the rumors around this family is that they are not as they seem. Can you guys please be quiet? Basically, Deku gets picked up by one of the butlers and he noticed that the butler has a cast on his right leg, and this butler is going to be important in the future. And Deku does help him get into the car and goes into the back. As his parents wave him goodbye until Deku comes back, and Deku is concerned for the butler until he makes it into the massive area where the family is. And in this case, Deku helps the butler get out of the car and walks to the front door, where a maid with a cast on her left arm,
she's also important,
opens it up quickly and tells them both to get inside. As the butler obliges and struggles to walk in, while Deku follows, making sure the butler does not fall over. And the thing is, these two are kind of old. They look like in their mid-50 or 40. Well, that's not old. I'm sorry. Basically, Deku is worried because he's wondering what happened, why they are wearing these casts, and they look poorly made. So Deku is worried. So Deku walks in and sees another butler with a patch on his eye. He thinks, okay, there's something wrong. As he walks into the room, as the maid and the butler with the cast introduces Deku to the family, and he sees two teenage kids a year younger than him, and he knows them because they go to his school. And two very younger kids, to the point where he sees one that looks like to be in kindergarten, while the other one looks like he's starting the year of second grade. And the thing is, Deku is the second popular person, but he does not let it get to his head as Bakugo. So the two older siblings of the two kids see Deku and realize that he is the popular kid in school, and they want to get on Deku's good side. I'm going to skip a few weeks. Deku is struggling since these kids are really, really spoiled, to the point where they argue with Deku and cause a fit whenever they don't get what they want. And whenever the dad hears these fake comments that the children made, the dad punishes Deku and locks him up in the basement, chains him into a wall, and hits him with very strange. Well, he hits him with a whip, a chain, almost cuts his arm off at a process. As Inko and Hisashi are worried because Izuku's staying there more than he should. He normally stays there for either a week or a couple of days. That's for normal appearances, and Hisashi and Inko are getting worried to the point where they call the police. Whenever the police
arrive to this fancy place, either the family pays off the police to leave them alone, or denies anything with the boy, aka as Izuku Midoriya. And they threaten to sue Inko and Hisashi if they try to meddle in their way. And this house is big to the point where they have an indoor zoo with poorly kept animals. And Deku was forced to babysit their children and the animals. And some of the animals are very much hostile. And they have cheetahs, well, not cheetahs, leopards. I don't know if leopards is a dangerous cat. Yeah, I think cheetahs is way more better. Basically, the last animal keeper that was supposed to take care of the animals went missing a couple weeks ago, and his family wondered what happened to him, to the point where he was notified as missing, and then a couple weeks later was found dead at a park. Apparently, what happened in the security camera when one of the butlers showed him, the guy was ripped to shreds by the cheetahs. And Deku sees this and is very worried because he has to feed the cheetahs. And whenever Deku is misbehaving, quote unquote, because he's not misbehaving, it's the children, and they lied that Deku is misbehaving. He either gets hit locked into the basement and stays there overnight to the point where Deku's kind of starving, or gets locked into the zoo with all the violent animals. And Deku does like work out to the point where he kind of looks like Azrael in the photo. I think that's enough for this time. Sorry guys.